Hey, what's up guys? Professor Oak here, back with another Elden Ring PVP video, doing some duels and invasions today. Hopefully over the course of watching this video, you guys are going to see that, these weapons that we're sort of sick of seeing are really good. And I don't think any of us doubted that, but they aren't instant win buttons. They are nowhere near instant win buttons. I'm still struggling to beat good players. And good players are still struggling to beat me, of course, but it's fair. If you realize that everyone is using these weapons, then use them, or else you're not going to be able to compete. You can lose and be pissed off and break your controller and break your disc, uninstall the game, say you're not coming back until DLC, all you want. But that's no fun. Do you want to have fun playing this game? Do you want to play this game? And do you want to have fun while you are playing this game? Use the best stuff. It's that easy, that simple. So to go over the best stuff, what I chose was a Colossal Greatsword. I didn't want to use Greatsword, the classic like Guts Greatsword, because everybody does. And I didn't want to use the Zweihander because everybody who doesn't use the Colossal Guts Sword is using Zweihander. So I went with the third option. It does more damage than the Zweihander, not quite as much as the Guts Greatsword, but we got the Watchdogs. It's on a strength build, 66 strength, 10 dexterity. We got 33 endurance as well as bull goats, so I can wear this very sexy armor with it. I look like a tree knight, love it. Tree sentinel, not a big fan. I never liked the X-Men, but a tree knight, I can get with that. So that's what we're doing. Mixed physic, we got the I think it's called Crimson Bubble Tier, the one that keeps you from dying. Also the one that regens you, maybe Crimson Burst. Either way, we got those two in our mixed physic. And we're going around, we're crouch poking. LOL. Which, I am doing a little bit more than just the crouch poking, but it's such a good move on this weapon. It's just genuinely no reason to use anything else. Outside of mix-ups and just feinting your opponent, crouch poke is the best move on this sword, so that's why you see people spamming, abusing it. It's the best move. It's like using a straight sword and being like, all you're doing is using R1. Well, it's the best move on the weapon, what are you talking about? And that kind of transitions me into talking about meta in video games. So, when the meta of a game is unhealthy, or toxic, or whatever we want to call it, yeah, that sucks, it's trash, it's not fun to play. But there is a comment that I keep seeing on the internet that I really, I love, and it's true, and sometimes the person saying it seems like they might be saying it with a little bit of an antagonistic tone, but it really is something everyone should know, and it is, just very simple. A game is always going to have a meta. A competitive game is always going to have a top tool available, a top group of tools available. One video game that I've played a good bit, spent a lot of hours of my life on, is called Super Smash Bros. Melee. A lot of you may have heard of this game. It's a pretty popular game. It's got a roster of around 25-30 characters, and at its top level, when people are competing, when people of equal skill level are competing, it's pretty much consensus that there are only about 6 characters worth playing in that game. And that's, pretty true for other video games too. Another game that I was very competitive in was Mortal Kombat X. That game had a roster of about 25-27 characters, and it came down to about 5 for the basically be-all end-all. If you watch tournaments, in the tournaments, the top 8 of a tournament would usually be comprised of maybe 2 or 3 characters. It's something that happens in every video game. Every competitive video game, I'll say. And looking for something other than that is gonna really... It forces a weird mindset, is what I would get at. Pride is something that gets in the way of being better or getting better at video games very often. A little anecdote: Mortal Kombat X is also the first game that I ever traveled to a offline event to compete in a game. At the time, I was very prideful, and like I've mentioned several times on this channel, I like to be a hipster, and I thought that I could play characters that the community had sort of slept on or kind of written off, said that these characters, they're not as good, they can't compete. But maybe one of them had something that looked cool to me. Like, for example, Liu Kang is a strong character in Mortal Kombat. In Mortal Kombat X, characters had variations. Basically, each character had 3 subversions of itself that you could choose between. and each one would have slightly different movesets, and it was just called a variation of the character. Liu Kang had a variation called Dragon's Fire that was very, very good. It was considered a viable, competitive variation. Liu Kang also had a variation called Duelist. This variation was considered trash. A lot of people called it non-functioning, like broken in the opposite end of the spectrum, so just a bad character. And I liked him. I thought he looked cool. He had a stance change, which made basically his projectile change colors and gain a few different properties. And some aesthetic things like that made me really enjoy Liu Kang in that variation. So I took him offline after bodying casuals online, after, you know, just beating left and right every random Tom, Dick, and Jane that came online. But once I took him to the tournament, I was eviscerated, like completely shitted on. Did not have a chance. Popular name in the community, Sonic Fox. He is a huge Mortal Kombat player. I actually ended up fighting him in pools after like watching his YouTube videos and thinking that he was such a good player and like almost idolizing him. Sat next to him in pools, had my duelist Liu Kang ready, and the man pretty much laughs at me for my character choice and then proceeds to kick my ass harder than I've ever had my ass kicked in any video game. And it was enlightening. Like, if you want to be good at this game, if you want to get better at this game, the first thing I would do is just put your pride away. Like, why are you not using Moonveil? Oh, it's too easy? Okay, well then beat me with it. I don't think that you're going to have an easy time beating me with Moonveil if I'm using something comparable. And then you realize that the weapon isn't what's making the game easy or not, it's the opponent. And the opponent with that weapon is very hard for you to overcome. But I've beaten so many people using Rivers of Blood that I would think that Rivers of Blood sucks ass. It doesn't, it's a really good weapon, those people using it suck ass. So what happens when a good person uses that weapon? It's very hard to beat unless you're also using a good weapon. And that's what, when it comes to competitive, that's what they're doing on the Discord. That's what you see Steelovsky doing. They're actually playing the game at a very high level. When everyone is using the most effective tools available, you start to see really, like, crazy plays. People have to start being very creative with their movement. You start seeing a lot of, like, dare I say, skill in the game. And when you're allowed to just use whatever you want, there is not, I don't know how to phrase this, but the way that some people seem to want the game to play, where you can use anything and it's viable. A, that's not possible. There is going to be something that is more effective, even if it's only slightly. B, the more things are available, the more often you are catching someone off guard. The more often the success you get is because of unfamiliarity. In fighting games especially, which I go back to a lot, but they are like my favorite genre of video games. In fighting games especially, you can win with a shit-ass character, because no one practices against shit-ass characters. Why would I need to practice against the worst character? It's terrible. And then you get in tournament, or you get in a setting where it's, you know, you're fighting this character, and they do something you don't know how to deal with. And it's terrible, and you could probably just jump out of it, or you could probably just mash one button out of it. There's some easy way to get out of it, but you don't know that easy way. So you lost. And that's not really skill as much as it is, like, it's knowledge. And knowledge and skill do seem to be separate, to me at least. They complement one another, go hand in hand, but yeah, you gotta have a strong both to compete. Which, you know, looping all this back around to Elden Ring, hopefully you guys are enjoying my ramble, but Ultra Great Sword, Heavy Thrusting Sword, Katanas, Halberds, what else do we have? Dual Straight Sword, Dual Spear, Great Spears. Why are we not using them again? Why do we want to be hipsters? Why are we letting these people that... And let's be real here, there are some of us who are new to Elden Ring, and there are some of us who have played FromSoft games since, you know, Kingsfield or Demon Souls or whenever you jumped in. I don't think that the people who... Let's separate them this way. The new players who are playing Elden Ring, I've met several of them through my stream, through the YouTube channel. Great video game players, cool people. And I really want that to be the majority of the community. And these people who are purposefully ganking, exploiting, griefing other players, why do they deserve our honor? Why do they deserve us to not use these weapons? And then the people who have been around for a while, or the good players, or the people that just joined Elden Ring but love it and are actually like doing well, they'll also be using these weapons. So that when we fight these other people, they'll be using this, we'll be using this. Those fights will be pure skill. They will be fun. They will be extremely, extremely fluid, smooth. They will not feel like grief. Everybody will have equal chances as long as there is equal skill. And if there's a patch, then yay, we get to play with different weapons. But right now, why are we fighting reality so hard? Why do we want to stick our fingers in our ears until FromSoft gives us, you know, something to go with? Right now we have what we have. And you can beat your head against the wall, and you can try to use what you want, and you can let your pride control you, and you can lose games. Or you can have fun. But yeah, that's you know, that's what I'm about. I want to have fun while playing this. I want to be smiling from ear to ear the entire time. This is one of, if not my favorite video game series. I think most of us here have been waiting for this game for a couple of years. It's been out almost 6 months now. I see more complaints from the more, you know, the more dedicated community than I do compliments. And that sucks, man. I hate that people aren't enjoying it as much as me, but I will say, all it takes is a little drop of the pride. Switch over to one of these weapons. I wish every weapon functioned as well as something like the halberd. That's what I think you know, like that should be like the standard for every weapon to perform that well. But right now it doesn't. So you can complain. You can, you know, and that's the thing. You're complaining and you're making it a worse time for everyone else. But you're claiming that the people using the things that work are making it a worse time for everyone else. So, you know, it's confusing. I hope that everyone will use the weapons that they think works best, and we can have fights that everyone knows are based on skill. But if you want to nerf yourself and then have the fallback of, oh, well, you were using this, I mean, that's more power to you, man. Regardless, I love everyone in this community. Thank you guys for watching this. Like it if you liked it. Leave me a comment if you have something to say about something I said. And other than that, man, have a good time. I hope to see you guys at MAG or out in the wild in the lands between. I'll be on. I'm going to be streaming later today. Love you all. Love you so much. Kisses, hugs, bye. All loves, bye.